Once you start, you'll quickly accumulate piles of marbled paper, and then you'll want to think of creative ways to use it. Here are a couple of ideas. I like to make journals with my marbled paper, or particularly cloth, because it's more durable. Just take a blank journal, add gel medium to the cover, and stretch the marbled cloth over the top. Collage is another option with endless possibilities. You can add collage paper over the top of your marbling, or you can add marbled paper to a traditionally painted piece. In collage work, I use matte medium to adhere the paper, and that way I can paint over the top of it with watercolor. Here are some examples of marbled patterns. These three don't include black and have a more pastel look. These patterns do include black, and black serves to outline the other colors and make them look rich. A good way to get a feel for how marbling combines with your art is to marble over art prints. That way you're not risking your original art. The thing that thrills me the most about marbling is combining it with my artwork. It does amazing things when combined with a piece of art. This one has just a transparent marbling over the surface. Other times, the marbling creates a wonderful frame that integrates the art with the background. And I just want to talk a little bit about what works combining art with marbling, what does not work, and what makes a good candidate for marbling over the top. So here are a couple of things that didn't work for me. This piece I marbled over the top, and it obscured the art so much that you can't tell what it is, and it's an interesting abstract form, but it doesn't have any content, and it didn't do what I wanted it to do. Another piece. For me, this would have been better had the ovals, had the circles been many different sizes instead of all about the same size and a little too repetitive. Interesting, but didn't hit the mark. This piece is Keeper of the Cosmic Memory. It's an orca and includes an iconographic orca, and then the water and the patterning of the water, which I really enjoy. Originally, it had rocks, stones, if you will, all around the perimeter, and it created a border, which was interesting, but a little too hard-edged. Everything was more predictable than I wanted to see it. So I marbled over the front of it, and it almost hides all the stones, but creates an interesting pattern. I did a little bit of painting over the top, but not a whole lot, just a little bit to define some areas slightly more. And that is one thing that I enjoy about this process, is that I can marble over painting and I can paint over marbling. This piece needed some mystery and some movement, which I think the marbling provides. But when I first marbled it, it covered up so much of the pigeons that you couldn't really tell what was going on anymore. So I took white gouache and recreated the pigeons over the front of the marbled piece. This piece was not very well rendered. The face didn't look quite right, wasn't the right shape, and I marbled over it anyway, just to see what would happen. And when the marbling pattern came across, it really covered up a lot of the information of the swan. So I went back in with my white gouache and reconfigured the head, completely changed the shape of the beak, and also added the white feathering over the front. That broke up and changed the hard edges that originally were bothering me about the piece, which is why I marbled it in the first place. This piece is Evolution's Web, and this is one where I started with the marbled pattern first and then added the figures on top of the marbling. It's never too late to make subtle shifts, or sometimes not so subtle. I wasn't happy with the way the chimpanzee's eye kind of was looking straight at the woman's mouth. And so when it occurred to me that that didn't work very well, I scrubbed the eye out and repainted it so that they are making eye contact, and I think it works better. I also subdued the marbling around the perimeter to focus in on the center where the figures and where the action is happening. Just like any art form, the more you marble, the easier it becomes. Right now it may seem like a lot of steps to remember, but pretty soon you'll know it.